So this section is section 4.7. This is the last section of chapter 4. So that means we'll be taking a test pretty soon. And what this section is dealing with is graphing. And then once we graph, we're going to compare linear functions. Now, up until this section of chapter 4, we've been saying linear equations. So today we're just kind of changing our words a little bit, and we're going to call them functions. Now, we talked about functions in chapter 1. We talked about how to write the function rule, which was just an equation. We talked about how to identify functions. That's when we dealt with our husbands and wives. And what else did we do? We even graphed our functions just using a table. So today we're going to still talk about functions, but they're going to have a very familiar look to you, because when we write a linear function, this is the way it looks. This is what you put in your blank. We use a special notation called f of x. That's how you say it. This is f of x. F of x. And this is the way we write a linear function. So this should look familiar to you, because in the last video, the last section that we just did, about 50% of this was the same. The only difference was this notation. Our f of x is the same as our y variable. It's going to have the same impact on your graph. So when we're dealing with linear functions, all we're doing is changing the notation. You're still going to have to use everything you know about the slope and the y-intercept to graph a function. Nothing's going to change. Just the wording and the way that you see it written. Okay? For instance, and you don't have to write this down, just watch me. If I tell you that f of x is 3x minus 15, okay? So say I wanted to graph this. There's nothing to solve because it's already in slope-intercept form. You should be able to identify slope and y-intercept. If I told you that x is 2, let's just say x is 2, and I wanted you to solve for f of x, you're still going to do the same thing as if this was a y. I know that you're going to substitute in 2 as x, but this is the way it's going to look when you're dealing with functions. Wherever I see a 2, I'm going to put an x. So that means I got to put a 2 right here, 2 where the x goes, and the minus 15. This is just notation. This is saying to you that whenever your x is 2, the answer that we're going to get is going to be the value for that function when x is 2. It's just fancy smancy mathematical writing. You're still going to say 3 times 2 is 6, subtract 15, it's still going to be negative 9. Still going to be negative 9. So this whole right-hand side is going to be the same. This left-hand side is just a different way of writing it. If this was a y, you would know exactly what to do. Well, since this y and this f of x basically have the same meaning, then you're going to do the same thing as if that was a y. You're just going to write it a little differently. So just keep that in mind. There's no need to get all bent out of shape. We're doing the same thing. Now, one of the things you're going to be responsible for in this section is, if I give you a function, you have to tell me what the x value is. See, the one that we just did, I told you what x was, and you solved for the f of x. You're going to have to know how to put it in reverse. So look where it says in your notes, finding the x value of a function. So step 1, because you know I like my steps, you're going to write the function. You're going to write on your paper f of x equals whatever, just to start us off so you know exactly what you're working with. Then, you're going to substitute in your value for f of x. They're going to tell you what f of x is. Substitute the value for the f of x. They're going to tell you that f of x is equal to 12 or 9 or 85 or negative 10. You're going to substitute that in to your left-hand side. And then it's a basic two-step equation. solve for x. You're going to determine what value x must be in order for your f of x to be whatever number you're starting off with. So here's example 1. You got it down on your paper. If the function f of x is 2x minus 10, so this is me doing step 1. I'm writing the function. Even though it's right there on your